Okay, for today, we're going to talk about some of the common errors that you may have encountered, and also based on the questions that I have received so far the last couple of days. So I want to go through some of those common errors and how you can fix those, and some of the best practice, what kind of things you used to do, what kind of things you should avoid. Then we will use the remaining time to show you how to purchase a domain and how to link that one to your GitHub website so that you can have your custom domain set up so that doesn't show it's GitHub. So it's your custom domain, leafmap.org, gmap.org, something like that. And it's pretty easy to do. So first, in terms of the error message, and by now you should have your package up and running on GitHub, and you should always try to look for this green check mark. If something goes wrong, it's going to tell you what's wrong. So, and usually here, the first thing I think some of the questions that I've received, at least two of you guys, is that you're going to see like everything works fine except these docs, the docs deploy, something goes wrong. So anytime if you see something doesn't look right, here there's a button here to see details. Let me see if I can find anything. There's an error message. So for example here, right? You see some of those like red buttons. So anytime if you see that, just click and then get in to see the details. So click this button. You can continue to click, right? Deploy. And it's going to show you here, right? I'm going to show you like, oh, okay. Discover typos with code spell. So basically, the package template has built-in checking if you have any typos, common typos in your source code. So you don't want to have, think about when you are writing a paper and then you submit a paper to a journal and then they found all kind of typos. It doesn't look good on you. So you should try to make your repository or anything you put online typo free. It's not going to catch everything. Sometimes some of the things it might catch the typo that you expect. You're teaching something that has all kind of typos. You want people to correct that, then you should not try to avoid. But don't panic if something goes wrong. You just need to see here and look at the error message and then see the detail. Where does those come from? Like which files contains the typo and how you fix those, right? So here it's going to show you my documentation, blah blah, and this notebook, and then it's a message. You zoom out a little bit. You need to be here, right? So clearly this is a typo, but this is intended typo. I want to have the typo because when you define the variable later on, if you're trying to use the variable, there's a typo in your variable, it's not going to work. So anytime if you see anything, if this is the real typo that you want to avoid, then you should go back to the file to check it and then replace it. So for example here, right, think about, right, this is a typo. Assume that, okay, this is something wrong, that you fix it. Then you look at this file name, right, under my docs and then my Python and then this notebook, something is here. But if there's only one typo, you can just go to the file and then you fix it. But you have multiple locations, then probably you want to fix all at once, right? So what I usually recommend is first open your repo using Visual Studio Code. And moving forward, you should avoid making changes using the web interface. Try not to edit anything here using the web interface. You can, unless you know what you're doing. Otherwise, most likely your local repo and the one on GitHub will be out of sync. And then you're commit some changes to your local repo. And in the meantime, you will commit some changes to your GitHub. And then at some point, it's out of sync. Because you need to keep in mind the repo need to have the commit history. It needs to be in a sequence. So you're making some changes locally, and then you have not pushed that to GitHub. In the meantime, you make some changes on GitHub. And then so this to the conflict because like it cannot move forward. Although this one is newer, but you have some older one here. When you're trying to merge, it doesn't know whether you want to keep this one, the web version, or you want to keep the local version. So anytime you are doing that two different ways, you need to make sure if you make some changes on the website, make sure you pull the changes quickly, because if you forget, if you commit some changes, then you cannot go back. You can go back, but there's only certain limit that you can go back. So it's kind of very tricky. I'm going to show you how to do that, but you need to like very, very careful This is a very common error that sometimes you get very frustrated. But don't worry. The worst case scenario, you delete everything locally, you pull the changes from GitHub, and then it starts from scratch. Or you can figure out what changes you have made. You copy some files locally and then put into somewhere, and then pull the changes from GitHub and then overwrite and then commit the changes and then push again. So it happens, but I will show you like what is going to happen later. But for now, let's look at the typo, right? So for me here, I'm going to open my repo and we close all the files. Okay, so anytime if you open anything right now, you see? So whenever you open that in Visual Studio Code, make sure you like on this tab here and this GitHub tab, look at this one. If it says sync changes 4, and then there's a down arrow, that means there are 4 commits in GitHub ahead of you. It needs to pull. So if you see this blue button, don't try to commit some things locally because right now you are behind. And if you do commit changes, you're going to have a problem. You won't be able to push it. So for example, right now here, I can show you. I haven't put the changes, right? I can try to make some edits because right now I'm teaching using this computer. So I have another copy on my office computer working on this repo. So earlier I fixed something using my work computer. I pushed to GitHub, and now this one is behind, right? So if I try to commit some changes here, I try to push, GitHub won't allow you. So let me show you like right now. Again, it's not pulled yet. I'm just going to demonstrate this error that you should avoid. You should always, if you're trying to work on something, you should click this button first. But if you accidentally forget and then you commit changes, so I'm going to show you here. How about maybe just I'm going to my README file. I'm going to add something like what is I just added just simple line, okay? Visualizing master vector data, okay? Control S. So again, right now, okay? I hope it doesn't push automatically. Let me double check. So the commit. So I just want to make sure that right now my commit is behind, okay? Behind the GitHub repo. Yeah, indeed it's here, right? So I have to it's probably it's already pulled to my local, quite sure. Anyway, this like I say update with me. Okay, and then I say Control Enter. You see this one here. The problem in this one right now, it works fine because I didn't make the changes like conflict changes with the one on GitHub. But let's see, it may work, it may not. If there's conflict changes, right? You make some changes on GitHub on the same file on the same line. You're also trying to make some changes locally. Then it's going to have a. But this one probably is fine, so I can just because that one is 2 directions. So if I try to use the command line, to say git push, if it works or not. You see, fail to push some reference, blah blah, update was rejected because your kernel branch is behind. Right. So this is what you're going to encounter. So what you can do here, if you only like commit 1, then this is the best scenario. You can revert the commit, and then you pull the changes and then you commit again. Otherwise, if you commit multiple times, then you cannot revert. So if you see this error, that means you're behind. So now you should pull the changes. So this is the solution. So go to these 3 dots and then go to commit. There's one called undo last commit. So basically it's just like undo the changes. But you can only undo 1 time, okay? So if you commit already have 2 commits, then you cannot. So what I can do here is I want to say undo last commit. And now this one is in the stage change. And so from here, I can just use this one, git pull. It should pull the changes to it locally. See? So now I have all the files coming to my local repo. And then I Control Enter again. See this one right now, the down arrow is gone, right? So now I can either click this button or I can also come here, git push. Now it should work because I put the changes to my locally. Make sense? So be very careful about that. Don't get out of sync. Like I said, worst case scenario, delete everything locally, clone the repo again, and then it works just fine. But if you have made many changes locally, you don't want to lose the changes. Then you copy the file somewhere else, you clone the repo, and then use the file to overwrite. Then usually you should keep the change. And that's what I usually recommend. Once you become familiar with Visual Studio Code and all the workflow, don't mess around with this web interface because it might accidentally out of sync and then you'll be in trouble. Okay, so this is one, is to synchronize your local repo with the GitHub. Next one is fixing the errors, right? So as I mentioned earlier, if there's any typo or anything showing up in here, then you go in and you see the details. Don't just say, okay, there's an error, and then you like, okay, it doesn't work. You need to look into the reason. So right now, I push all the changes, everything works fine, but I can certainly make a typo in here just to show you, like, okay. What's this one? I can say analyzing raster and vector data. So I can accidentally have one like AN. Okay, let's see what happened. So this right now I intentionally have a typo in here, and I can also have another one like clean up useful meshes. Okay. Again, I'm going to have some typo in here intentionally. Let's see what happens. So I can just push this one to the repo. I will say update with me. And it should be able to capture the, I hope we're able to capture those typos. So think changes. And let it run. It should only take a couple minutes, then you should be able to see the result. So this is why when your package become more mature, you don't want to push directly because you want to break things. So you should always create a new branch and then push the branch and then run all the testing. If everything works fine, then you merge the branch. Don't try to push things directly because right now we're still like very beginning, so there's not much going on here. It's totally fine, but you should avoid pushing directly to the main repo. So let's work for this one, and I'm pretty sure other stuff will run successfully except this one. So if you want to see that on the fly, I click the details and look at this one. So it's going to run all the dependencies, install all the dependencies based on this one. So this is called GitHub Actions. Again, you can look at the workflow and then the docx.yml. So this file defines the action. Ask GitHub to use the Python version 3.11 and to install all these packages, and then it's going to basically run the code spell. So this is a package to help you check the typos, and then it's going to run all the testing. If everything works fine, it's going to push the website, deploy to GitHub. If this anywhere of those fail, then this step will not be executed. So your website will not be up to date. And there's a plugin here. Okay, the plugin allows you to see the GitHub whether the GitHub actions whether it fail or not. And clearly you see this one, it failed, right? docx number 10 in here. This is the same as the one you see on GitHub. So if I come back to here, okay, this is what I expect it to fail because it's going to discover the typo. So look at this one, readme blah blah analyzing, right? It's missing A here, and meshes is also missing something here. And there's also the other two files in here, and you might be confusing because my repo doesn't have these two files. These two are generated automatically, so you may not be able to find those two files on your repo. It doesn't exist, but you should be able to find this one by repo. So usually for me, if I'm the one that's handling the repo, so now this is what I'm going to fix the issue. So if you go any repo, you want to help fix the issue, this is how you're going to do that, because the general workflow is like this. Okay, so right now, just make sure git, for example, I'm going to just git pull, make sure that my repo is up to date. Okay, and then I'm just going to like git branch to see what branch right now I'm in. So I'm under the main branch. I'm going to help fix the issue, but I don't want to, because you might accidentally create other typos. So usually you should create a new branch And there are a couple ways you can do that. You can come here. I think there's a branch here. You can use the interface to create a new one here, right? And click the button, create a new branch. But there are only a couple command lines you need to remember. So usually for me, I will just use the command line. So you'll be like this: git checkout, and then -b, and then the name. So you can give any name for your new branch, right? So the only one is main. If I check out a new one and then have b, basically we're creating a new branch. And it's going to tell you, okay, switch to a new branch typo. On the left side here, you should be able to see the main and the typo. So what we're doing here is that this is the main branch. I don't want to touch it. I create a new one, keep a copy. I do something on here, and then I push this one to GitHub, and then you want to compare to the main branch, then you can merge it. So in that way, I fix the typo and then make sure everything runs correctly. So right now, okay, it's done. I'm on the typo branch. Now I can start fixing the typos. So if I go back to, of course, if right now I only have 2, right? Pretty simple. You can just come here. I can say just like A and then Control A, fix it. But if you have multiple occurrences on this repo, then the recommended way will be just find and replace. So I'm going to go to my repo here, and on the upper left corner, you click this button, there's a search. It might look a bit different from your interface, but you should be either at the top or somewhere at the bottom, or on the left side, there's a search icon or something. So what we can do is I'm going to come here and go to the website and look at the typo, right? So here I have 2 typos. I'm going to just copy this one. I know this is a typo. Don't copy this one, because this is what it's supposed to be. It's not on your repo yet. You should copy this original typo. So I'm going to copy this one, Control C, and then come back to here, Control V. It should be able to find those, right? You see? This one and blah, blah, blah. Then this is where you should replace it, right? You're going to Control V again, and message, MESSAGE, okay? Also, on the list of files in here, you have the typo on the README file. You also have some typo on the Jupyter notebook. But the Jupyter notebook is intentional. I should not replace it. So if this is the case, there's a cross button here. You remove this one, it will not replace it. So assume you have 10 files, you only want to replace 8 files. You remove those 2, and then you can come here to just click this one, or you can click here, replace all of them. So pay attention to this one here, right? If I click this button, replace all of them. So it doesn't matter how many occurrences, you're going to replace all of them. Okay. So now it's done. Control S. I fixed all the typos. Now you can push that to GitHub. Using this new branch is a pull request rather than push directly to the main branch. So take a look at this one. So I'm going to say, okay, fix typos. Control Enter. Okay. And then push branch. So right now it's not sync changes anymore because we're not using the main branch. So if I push the branch, I have another typo. Probably I may have another branch on the repo that is called typo. So that way it may not work. You can choose a new name, but if that's the case, you can delete it. Yeah, because I fixed a typo earlier, like on my office computer, it happens to have the same name and it's not deleted yet. So I should come here because this one is active branch. So you would already have something here is different. So I can just remove this one. And the other way, you can also delete the branch automatically after it is merged. So you can go here and then scroll down, automatically delete hate branches. So after the branch is merged to the main branch, you can delete automatically. So let me try it again. Push the branch. Now it should work. Hopefully. Okay, all done. So you see it's terminal here. Yeah, if there's no error messages, then means it's successful. So now we can take a look at this branch. You go to the main repo, it should show you, right? Compare and pull request. This is what you are supposed to do if you want to contribute to your own repo. And it's going to clearly show you, right? You fix those 2 typos. Then you can write a description saying like, I fixed, or you can say list, yeah, pull request fixes 2 typos. And then if you want to write a more detail, write it. Just click pull request. So this one is going to check all the stuff before you merge to the main branch. It's going to run the same thing. And this docs build This is the one that's going to check all the typos. So if this one is successful, then you are good to go. Then you can merge, right? So what you want to see is want to make sure that all the things pass before it moves into the master branch. So in that way, you don't accidentally break something, because keep in mind, GitHub history is permanent. Once you push there forever, not going to be erased unless you delete the repository. So this is basically secure. Anything is on there, it becomes a history. You cannot mess up the history. You cannot go back in time. So you need to be very careful, because especially when you're working on package, and then sometimes you might accidentally commit some large files. You might commit a shape file or GeoTIFF that's 100 megabytes. You are doomed, because once you commit your big GitHub package, the file size will always be big, because every time you commit something, it's going to make a copy. It's going to make a copy. So the file size will increase. Like, so for text file, it's fine. It's pretty small. But if you upload a 100 gigabyte, 100 megabyte shape file, and then later on you change the shape file, you modify something, you push again, and it's like 101 megabyte. Your repo will be like probably over 200 megabyte, because it's going to make copies. So if your file only changes a little bit, and then your file is huge, it's not suitable for GitHub. So try not to make sure that you are very careful when you're trying to add something to the repo. So take a look at this one. Hopefully everything will pass, and then you see now docs build, everything is successful. The reason for that, because I fixed the typo. So now even if it runs this same discover typo, it doesn't discover anything. So these are things you can skip, right? I'm going to skip checking the typo on CSV, on this Jupyter Notebook, and also TXT file. For you guys, you probably just a couple of those, right? Don't want to check the typos on the PDF, but you should check the typo on your Python file and also some Markdown or something. And if everything looks good, then you can merge, right? So I'm pretty sure this is going to pass, because I don't really make any changes. It's just fixing 2 typos. So I assume it's going to be passed. And then after that, you can come here. I would recommend select the second one, select the drop-down list, and then squash and merge. As I mentioned in the past, if you don't use this one, use the default option, it's going to generate, if you have 10 commits, right now I only have 1 commit, so you have 10 commits in here. If you use the default option, those 10 commits is going to show up on your GitHub history as 10 items, 10 commits. It's overwhelming. So usually you want to have 1 pull request, 1 commit history to the main repo, rather than have 10 separate commits. So it's like more organized. Okay, so assume this is good, and then you can just say, okay, squash and merge, confirm, and boom. Now it's done. You see this one also, the branch is automatically deleted, because I changed the setting. Otherwise, if you have it's going to keep showing up under here, then it's going to become overwhelming. So you want to make sure that you don't have too many in here. For your package, you only have 2 branches. The first one and the second one, the GitHub Pages. This is where the website is being hosted, right? So now it's pretty clean. This is what it is supposed to be. I fixed the typo. Now the typo in here is gone, right? This is how, like, the general workflow, how you should do things, rather than push changes to GitHub directly. You can see, for example, go to the, how about show you the example, for example, leaf map, right? This is what I'm working on pretty much every day. So you can see all the commits, right? It's gonna, if you have a pull request, it's gonna showing up here. It's like hashtag and then the number. So basically it's and you can also see how many commits, not how many commits, right? So for example, add split map example. So if you click, it will tag you to the repo, and this is going to show you exactly same procedure. This is also building the website, but your package is not that complicated, so you only have a couple of those to check the typo and other stuff. But see, for example, this one, right? This is not other people, other contributor contribute to my repo, and you can see they commit 11 times, 11 commits, and how many files were changed. You're going to see the detailed things, every single line that was changed, and also checks, right? How I check, make sure that everything runs successfully. It might fail at the beginning, but eventually you need to resolve all the errors. And after it merges, it's going to just showing up as 1 item on the main history. You can see the history in here. You can see every time. You can also see when fail. how it was resolved. Right? So this is everything to make sure your package is supposed to behave in a certain way. Once it's done, I merge it, becomes a history into the main branch. Questions? Yes? Uh-huh. Yes. So let me open here, right, on Visual Studio. The interface might look a bit different. So some of you, do you see the source icon on this sidebar here? Do you have one? Yeah, only one. The second one is somewhere. So if you have a source icon, then you click the source icon. If you don't have, it's probably somewhere in the upper left corner. There's like file icon, and then there should be a sub menu here called search. And then you put this is where do you want to search. This is where you want to replace. So I forget like why mine looks so weird, and also two like same icon in here. It's probably somewhere messed up in my settings, but don't care. So I know where the things are, so it's fine for me. But for you guys, make sure this search and replace that one is super useful. You can search all the files and replace all at once. Kind of like in any IDE that you can search and replace. Any other questions? Yes? Yes. So the cap, I think like a gigabyte, each repo or something like 1 gigabyte, I forgot the limit. GitHub is for source code, it's not for storing large files. So if you're doing large file, this is not the way. You can create a release, and then you can add the file to the release. That one I think is unlimited. So I can show you an example, right? If you go to my this open GOS repo, I have a one called data. Right? I put some like commonly used data. It's kind of very much similar, but it's usually not recommended. So the better way, if you have large file, you want to like make it accessible, what you can do is go to the release. Okay, and let me show you how you can do that. So once you go to release, you can add the file. For example, here, right, I have one raster file, 60 megabyte, the other one 100 megabyte. This one has no limit. So what you can do is like this: go to release, and then drive a new release. And here you can do whatever, like generate a new release or blah blah. And there's a box here allows you to drag file. So you can just click here, and then you can navigate to a computer, select whatever large file you want, and then it's going to upload as here to the GitHub repository, and just click publish release, then your files will be available. So this is one way you can make it accessible. And then if you want to get the URL, you can come here, and you hover your mouse over this last file, and I can just copy this URL, and then you can send to anybody, or you can use in your Python code to download the file. So for example, I can just simply Control Enter, Control Enter, and you hit there, right? It's going to be able to download. So yeah, basically you can use GitHub as a kind of file repository, but everything is public, so it's not private. So you need to make sure that you don't have any sensitive stuff on there. But yeah, I use it all the time because I put some files I want other people to use in the notebook. Then I just put in here. It kind of it's free, and you don't need to pay anything. It's better than Dropbox or Google Drive because this link is a direct link. Google Drive, Dropbox, those are like you are pointing to the website. You are not pointing to a direct file. Just like if you remember in the Markdown, you need a direct link to the PNG. You need a direct link to something else. So if you're using, for example, notebook, I can quickly show you, right? So if I want to download this file directly in my Python code, I can do that as well. So I can go to maybe somewhere here in my notebook example, right? And I can create a new file, or I can just come here and I can just show you quickly like how I want to do that. So I can just import, for example, a leaf map, because I know leaf map has a function that allows you to download a file. So I'm going to come here and activate this contact environment. Then I can just create a new variable. We cover this more next week. Then I paste the URL, okay? This is the URL that I copied from GitHub. Usually you want to use some of these in your Python code to automate. So imagine you have 100 files. You're not going to click like one by one, not efficient. So all you need to do is just have a kind of loop and then get the URL. Okay, done. Then I can just say leaf map.download underscore file, right? URL. and you can select a file location if you want to. Right now, it's going to download to my default directory. So take a look. Work, right? So I'm going to download this file programmatically rather than have to click. So if you have 100 files, 1,000 files, it doesn't matter, 2 to 3 lines, get them all. So this is the power of doing automation. Again, we cover more like basics next time, but I'm just showing you like this is in general how you can make the files accessible to other people and then use in the example in your package. And then anyone can open and they can run because you don't need to tell them, okay, go to this link, click this button, click there, and then I just, go to this notebook, run it, you get the same result. So this is how you can do that easily using coding. Any other questions? So next, then we're going to show you how to purchase a domain and then link that one to your website so that you can have a personalized, customized domain. Okay. So here is where you can go, right? You can go to there are lots of like this is called DNS provider, so domain name service provider. I think GoDaddy, Google, there are many other out there. So I usually use this one. So for me here, right, try to find any name. So try to have a name that's short and then easy to remember. So for me, all right, I'm developing this package called Geospatial. Geospatial. So I'm going to find. Oh, it still fails. Oh, this is relevant. So this is probably something. So sometimes if it fails after no reason, it says read runtime out, read timeout. Sometimes this is most likely just a network problem. All you need to do is just come here and then just rerun the failed job. And sometimes it just pass. So it's not your problem. It's because it's trying to download the file. Sometimes there's internet problem. GitHub is not running that one forever. If after a couple of seconds it is not successful, it will fail. But you can try it again. You pass. Again, okay. Right now, let's try to find the domain name. So I'm going to come here and let's search GEO Hey. Okay. You don't have to do it. Okay. I'm just showing you. It's going to cost you a couple bucks. If you don't have the money, don't do it. Okay. If you have that a couple bucks available, you want to do it, fine. So here, this is a domain name. We see 69 bucks, 59, too expensive. Wow, GeoHey sucks. Okay. I don't know why people would buy this domain name. Probably something someone really hate, and then you can like. So let me scroll down. You can see some of those like $1 tag for. Okay, the geohey.com is really interesting. Oh, that means it's good name. So good luck. I think I saw the other one earlier. It probably is in my like already in my. So you can sort the name or if there's specific domain name you like. So AI usually is pretty expensive. IO is also expensive, but usually like a .com, .org, and usually pretty cheap. The other way is just go online. Go GoDaddy, GoDaddy coupon. Some coupon code something like that. Just find something you can. Sometimes you can give tip discount, 99 cents per year. So try some of those coupon, whatever, anything you like. So for me, I'm going to pick one, I think. So the other one here, like go like .xyz. Let me see. .xyz. 499. Oh, 199. Perfect, right? Exact match. And so not 199 for the first year, and after that is 20. So I'm just going to sacrifice $2 just for you guys. So I'm gonna say make it yours, okay? And usually I would recommend if you really find a domain name you like, try to purchase multiple years because after you purchase, if the discount is only the first year, after that you will increase, like mostly between 10 to 20 bucks. So for me, I usually buy 5 years or 10 years because you can get like 30 or 40% off using finding some of those coupons. You guys can try it out. Not all of them will work, but sometimes it's pretty cheap. So I'm going to click continue. So I'm going to buy this domain, then I can link to my GitHub webpage. And again, don't choose anything. I don't want domain protection. I don't need anything. Okay, continue to cut. And once again, so Okay, why $60? Who adding this stuff to my? Let me delete the. I don't need this one. Bucks. Okay, yeah, you see here by default it says 2 years, so I just need 1 year. There's also I have a promotion code here. This is where you find those online. You push in here. Usually like some of those like 50% off, 90% off. I don't know. But I'm just going to select first year. It should be $199. That's not bad. Okay, now it's $199, so it's not expensive. Then you can say, okay, I'm ready to pay. Once I click this one, it's going to go to my next page. It's going to show my address and my credit card. So I'm going to pause this video recording. So okay, so now I purchase domain. This is mine now. And you can click continue. Okay, so GeoHead XYZ is ready. Then we can talk about how to. He's going to ask you like, do you want to publish? It's going to show you the website coming soon or something. No, I don't need it. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to. So basically, what this one is doing, you get this domain. So whenever people type the domain in the URL in the browser, it's going to go to somewhere here. And so you need to tell this GoDaddy to point to GitHub, saying that, okay, my website is hosted on GitHub, go there. So it's basically, this is kind of like the information center. If you remember in the old days, like you're trying to call somebody when we didn't have cell phone, you need to call and then they, what's that called? Like dial somebody else and then so they, yeah, operator, exactly. So this is kind of like operator. So now I'm saying not now, and then I'm going to go to my settings to make sure that it knows where to go, okay? So here should be under my, I forgot where it is, should be one called DNS, main is the DNS. Where exactly? There should be an option, the GeoHead dashboard, domain, where it is the option that you can. Anyway, so let me try this one, domain. Yeah, if you click on the left side, domain, and then there should be one here, manage DNS. So DNS, domain name server. So this is where you're pointing to GitHub. And if I click this one here, okay, this is where the record. So right now, it says this is a park. So they might now, the website is parking in here. If you try to run, open this one, right? For example, go to this one. It's not, cannot be reached. Not ready yet. You go to my homepage, right? So right now, this is the URL, what look like. This is my website. And the URL is my username.github.io underscore, not underscore, / geohead. So what I want is when people type geohead.xyz, we go to this website, and it's not redirect. The URL will stay the same. Stay like geohead.xyz, not this. So what we need to do, this is the step that you need to take. So if you go to your settings, and then on the left side, pages, this is where you can have the custom domain, right? So what you're supposed to do here is to put in that x geohead.xyz. Don't save yet because right now it doesn't work because you haven't tell GoDaddy to like pointing to here. So what you need to do is to click this one, learn more, configuring custom domain, something like that. And then you can say add a custom domain GitHub Pages. So if you click this one, if you scroll down, you should be fine. Not this one. Let me search the other one. I think it's called GitHub A record. GitHub A record. Basically, you want to add the A records to GoDaddy. So just search GitHub A records. You should be able to find this one, and this is what we need to do. This is the one, this 4 IP address. So think about here, every address, every URL that you go to using a browser has an IP address behind the scene. And the IP address, so in this case here, this is the IP address of GitHub. And it has 4 IP addresses. So some of those basically is the backup. So what we're trying to do here is we purchase domain on GoDaddy. So when people type the URL, it's going to go there. And then you're going to ask like GoDaddy to point to GitHub. And GitHub is going to give you like 4 IPs. So basically what it's doing is say, go to one of these 4 IPs. It's going to reach the website because my website is hosted on GitHub server. The GitHub server has these 4 IPs. So if you go to this one, GitHub will be able to find one of those. It's kind of random. So this is more like so-called load balancing, so you can find one of the server. So what we need to do is to add the A records, GoDaddy, so that you can point to one of these. And again, come to my list domain here. You should delete this one, the A park. We don't need it because earlier it's basically just parking here. Right now, I know I'm going to use that one, so I'm going to delete this A records, and then you can start adding. Otherwise, people cannot reach your website. So you're going to say, click this one, add new records, and select the type A, and then this name here, you should be just using the add. Okay, the add means is just using the web basically geohe.xyz. If you use something else, you'll be, for example, abc.geohe blah blah. But this you should just use the add, and then come here, copy this one. Okay, one by one. I'm gonna go back here, value, and then save. You can add them all at once. So right now you have an A records. So later on, when GitHub, right now when people go to the website, you should be able to point into them. But you should have all of them. Okay. I'm gonna add new records, and again I'm gonna select the A record, press the add sign, and need to for all of them. Okay. So this is the second one. And the value. Okay. Add more records. A records. Then add. See. Later on will be easier. So this is but for the root directory. And later on, if you have like geohe.xy and then slash, and then you have a sub website, then you don't need to repeat the process. You just add one record. You're almost done. So last one, then add one here. Control C, and Control V. Save all records. So pretty much this is done. So right now you're informing GoDaddy that when people type in the geohe.xyz, go to GitHub, go to one of those 4 IPs. And then GitHub, when you point into GitHub, and you on your GitHub, you have the settings of your custom domain, GitHub knows that you own the website, and then they will render your website. So the next step, what we need to do is come to my GitHub repo. And here, I'm going to go to my GitHub repo here, again, under my custom domain. So now from here, I can just click save. It's going to do the tracking, but sometimes it might not work immediately because when you are adding these records to GoDaddy, it might take a couple minutes, sometimes hours, to be so-called propagate because there are thousands of servers around the globe. When people are trying to connect to the website, it's not connect to just one server. They're like distribution of servers around the globe. And so this might take some time, but let's try it out. So I'm going to come here to add my custom domain. So it's just whatever name that you get, I'm just go here, save, and it's going to check because you're not able to actually, because when you are clicking the website here, it's going to, you see, it's a not improperly configured because it's not ready. It might take some time to do that, but you need to just keep checking. Otherwise, if you just put like google.com, you cannot do that, right? You don't own the google.com. So you're going to verify that unless Google on their server, they're pointing, they have those 4 IP pointing to here, then it's not good. But this is more like the just for the kind of a safety check. It might take some time. Again, you need to be patient. Eventually you'll be there. Not successful, it's not ready. But I can show you, for example, other website that I own, for example. Go to OpenGOS, for example. Show you maybe leaf map. If you go to the settings, pages, this one here is going to check, right? Because in the GoDaddy net domain, I added those 4 A records, you see, the safe one. So when people go to GoDaddy, it's going to point into GitHub server, and GitHub knows who owns the domain, and then it's pointing to a website, and then it's going to render your website. This is why when I type, for example, leafmap.org, it's going to come here. It's going to stay leafmap.org. But this link actually under the hood is the domain of your server, where this one is coming from. The website actually is this. Okay, this is my organization. So the website is actually opengos.github.io, but I have a custom domain here. It's the same thing. So it's basically, this is the main homepage, kind of like your username.github.io. Anyway, so this one, if I type /ifmap, get this one here. So this is actually behind the scene. This is the domain given by GitHub. So if the user go to this one, if I hit enter, it should redirect to this one. So right now, because I own the domain, so it redirects. So people don't know actually it's actually hosted in GitHub. You can try to figure it out, but what I'm saying is under the hood, these are things that eventually, if you own the domain, you will keep the domain, the file of the browser. So let me try it again, see if it works now. If not, I can show you next time. Refresh again. Might take some time. Looks like it's good news. So it's tracking, so that means it's working on that. And sorry. And once it's done, you can check this in enforce HTTPS. So that means it's more secure. Otherwise, just HTTP, you're overusing HTTP. So this is the way that once it's done, you can check this box up and running. So hopefully next time I can show you. And what this one is doing, essentially, after you click the save, it's going to create a new file under your repository. So it's actually here. Let me show you. It's under your repo, under the GitHub Pages branch. So if you go to this one and then GitHub Pages, there should be a file called CNAME, all uppercase, and this CNAME is your website URL. Okay. So when you click the save, it will join this file, push to the GitHub. But I will show you next time when it's done, how to add this name into the repo so that your website URL is permanent, rather than if you put some changes, that file is gone, and then next time you need to re-verify. So it's kind of a bit. Or let me try see if it works. Let me see here. Geo xyz. No, geo xyz. It cannot be reached. Probably not ready yet. It's going to take some time. Or I can use the ping to ping see figure out. So okay. Ping. Ping request cannot find a host. Okay. Ping map.org. Okay. It's not ready yet. But if I ping my website, it's going to show you like blah blah reply from this 185 blah blah. This is the GitHub IP that earlier when I add the A records. If I try again, sometimes the IP address may change, or it depends on the location. If I close, because they have multiple servers around the globe. But if you can ping the website, that means you're good to go. So similarly, I can just ping google.com. You can find out the IP of Google, right? Here, right? 64 blah blah blah. You can ping any address. So most of the big website, they usually have couple address like around the globe. So I can ping utk.edu. Right? You'll be able to see behind what's the IP. And maybe after a couple hours, I should be able to ping this one. Right now it's not there yet. So new domains might take a couple hours to propagate, to get into all the server. So think about here, I possess this domain, and that domain server is hosted somewhere, for example, near DC. And then they need to tell all the people around the globe, all the servers around the globe that, okay, this domain belongs to this person. And when you go to this website, you go to that. But right now, when I'm typing this URL, it's going to go to my local nearby server. That server has not been notified yet. So there's a hierarchy, like top level domain, second level domain, like third level. It's going to get the message, like it's not like broadcasting like for all of them. It's like there's a hierarchy. So take a couple hours and then it should be ready. Anyway, we're out of time. So this is the whole process about getting the domain. And next week we start doing like basics about Python programming. And and I will show you how to set it, get this one running, the custom domain. Okay, that's all for today. I will see you the next lecture.